Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a returning guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your not so secret identity?
Hi, everybody. I am Danielle McRae, and I am a shadow broker from Street Fighter. Yeah.
And we found out that she's currently being monitored by Blitzcrank
Yes.
to make sure she
Yeah.
doesn't spoil any NDAs, which, that man, he's got to ruin everything. Anytime you
I
get him in
know.
bot lane, it's just like, oh, Blitz, really? Maybe he's
I
bad at
mean,
his grabs.
I think so. But I think he just reminds me, like, hey, don't talk about that yet. If you do, I'm gonna have to go and pulverize you, Blitzcrank style.
Well, since the last time we've talked, you've actually done quite a few things because mainly our last interview was about Skullgirls, which, as a refresher for everybody out there, recently Skullgirls Encore came out.
Yeah. I'm super happy with the success that Skullgirls Encore has gotten because Skullgirls itself, it's pretty much been like, I don't know, I call it a Cinderella story for that game just because, first it's like their game is out on PSN and Xbox and then it gets taken away from Konami and then it gets back on PSN and hopefully Xbox very soon. And the community's growing really like steadily. So I'm really happy for that game. And
Yeah, it's definitely a fighting game that I think is here to stay, whether they make different iterations. I know it's a smaller team, but I'm really hoping that we see, Skullgirls continue to expand, especially once they're done with all the DLC characters.
yeah, I hope so too.
I still really suck at it, but hey, it's still really pretty to look at.
It's so pretty. I just button mash everything. A friend of mine tried to teach me how to play it, and I'm like, I am probably gonna forget everything you taught me. So I just button mash.
I got pretty decent at using Parasol, but I got to a point where I hadn't played it in so long, and then I picked it back up, and I was like, "Oh God, how do I? What?
How do I skullgirl?
So much WoW, so much lost."
Yes.
But no, it was a lot of fun. I still see it at conventions for tournaments and things like that. So I'm glad that the community is still there and thriving.
Oh, me too. And it's just crazy to see as the years go by, is the support for that game, and there's more people who are being introduced to that game from their friends. It's really cool to see that.
I like how Blitzcrank is just reminding us that he's there, and like you can't even spoil Skullgirls. It's out. I mean,
I
come on.
know. This is Blitzcrank is the wrong game. This is Skullgirls, not League of Legends.
Though I don't really think we touched upon League of Legends very much when we initially had you on the first time. I think that was before I had gotten into League of Legends myself. I think I've been playing it for about a year now,
Uh-huh.
and I think the last time we talked was 2-ish years ago. It's really hard sometimes to keep track of like the time in between, and we're like, oh wow, we haven't talked to this person for like 3 years. How did that
It's been
happen?
a long while. It's crazy.
But in terms of League of Legends, I'm assuming that you still get fans approaching you for that game because so many people play it.
Yeah. There was a convention I went to last month, and it was in Denver, and there was a person who came up to me, and they mostly recognized me for like Karma, so they called me the true Karma, just because Karma has two versions of her now. It's the traditional and then the new one, which looks, I think, really awesome. So they're saying that like because of your karma, it actually made me, want to do better in my life, in my schoolwork and everything like that. So I kind of like inspired them to do better with their life with
Oh,
that voice. So that made me tear up and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool.
it's not every day you hear stuff like that. I mean, a lot of times you'll hear like, "Oh my God, your character is so cool," but not like your
Yeah.
character changed my life.
Like, yeah, like they changed your life. And, I've heard a lot of voice actors say stuff like that, but it's just really weird when it happens to you because it's like, what? I just did a voice. But it's cool. It's really surreal.
I can kind of relate to the feeling a little bit. I'm still really in this surreal place when people come up to our booth or whatever and they ask for an autograph. It's like, oh, sure. Like, are you positive you want me to ruin whatever I'm autographing?
Honestly, I feel that same way. I'm like, you want my autograph? Because I write so weird. You want my scribble?
Oh
You
yeah,
sure you
I,
want
I
it?
totally do chicken scratch. And then some of my staff members have like impeccable writing, and I'm just like, man, I hate you guys. But But I know the thing that you're in that just came out that I've seen pimped out on Twitter and a few other places is a part of the Altier series.
Hmm.
Hopefully I said that right. Atelier. I can't.
That it's
It's
totally
always so
cool.
hard to say.
Yeah, I actually didn't know how to say it until I went into the booth to record for this character. But they were saying, "Oh no, it's a Tellier." It's like, "Oh," so I thought it was a teal or a terror. So I
Yeah,
couldn't say
I
it.
have like two of the games, two or three of them, and I still don't know the right way to say it because they really don't say it in the game at all.
I know they never say it. Well, I think this game was probably the first time I've heard someone say atelier. It's this game kind of has a little bit of voiceover in this game, but there's sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you've been to your atelier." It's like, "Oh, that's how you say it." But yeah, it's a really funny word.
Well, can you explain a little bit about your character in the game?
Yeah, I voiced the character Threa Hazelgrim, and she kind of reminds me of myself in a way. When I first went and recorded for her, they were saying, "Okay, well, there's something you need to really realize with this character. She's an extreme workaholic. Like she'll do something, like she'll research for artifacts and stuff, but when she does that, if she really starts to remind of something, she will forget to eat or sleep or clean anything." So it's to the extreme where she's only focused on her work and that's it. She won't even do anything else.
Yeah, I can see how as a voice actress that would be a character you could relate to be
Oh
honest,
yeah.
because there's so much time and dedication that you're putting into your craft.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can relate to her in many levels except for not eating and sleeping and cleaning.
Well,
But
nobody
yeah.
wants to clean anyway, but eating and
No.
sleeping on the other hand, everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Well, the really cool thing about this game series is not only does it have a pretty secure fan base, but it has a really unique style. Like it's still
Yeah.
very, Japanese anime, if you will, but it's very detailed, like the costumes and everything else, and I think a lot of people really love it for that.
Yeah, and I think the thing that really made me excited for this game when I recorded for her was the art style for this game. Like they just showed me a picture of her, and I was like, she's so pretty. And then when I was finished recording for her, then I had to go and get an art book for this game just because of how beautiful the artwork is in this game.
Definitely. And I know you can spend so much time with this type of game. I remember the first one I played, I spent like 150 hours or something
Oh my
stupid like
gosh.
that. Just
Yeah.
because I wanted all the endings and whatnot. But, I'm curious how long the scripts were.
Um, well, I recorded about a day because unfortunately the whole game wasn't dubbed, which I
Mhm.
was really sad about that. I think it was due to budget constraints and stuff. But it was about, I want to say about 2 hours recorded for the whole thing. But I was like, oh, I feel like there's more lines because before I went in and recorded, I actually did watch some of the video from the Japanese version. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot more going on here, and we can't dub all the stuff. Like when Threa gets drunk and she's actually having fun for once, and I'm like, I can't record that. And yeah, but it was a fun process to record for her though.
Well, it's a little bit disappointing that you couldn't explore your character a little bit more, but you never
Yeah,
know.
well,
Maybe in the
hopefully
future.
there is an anime coming out for this one, so hopefully it comes out here. We can dub it.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I guess it would depend, who picks it up and all that wonderful convoluted stuff.
Yeah,
But you never know. It could they could be really faithful to the game, which is something I think all the fans really appreciate when they get to hear the same actors in other media.
yeah.
Like I don't know from a fan perspective for you because I know there's everybody has different opinions on it, but sometimes when they switch actors, you're kind of like, wait, something's off, and I don't know what it is.
No, I get that same way. Before I did voice acting, I was that same way. I'm like, oh, they switched the voice actor for this, and this sounds really weird. And I understand that. I understand that because it's like you invest all your time just listening to that voice, and you don't really realize it. You're playing a game or watching an anime, and it's like that voice is there, and you don't realize it until there's something different about that voice, or there's another installation of a game, or maybe the series has like a new voice, and it's like, is that the same person I heard before? And I get that way all the time, so I understand completely.
Well, I'm glad I'm not not the only one because a lot of times, and me and Chris kind of make a game out of it, where we can try and figure out what every voice actor is in a certain type of media. For example, when Danganronpa came out, we hunted because their credits are not in the game in the ending credits at all. It was the weirdest thing to us. So we were
Yeah.
like, okay, we've got two more left. Let's go straight to the source. So we just messaged Tony Oliver and being super sleuths, like we're stalking people's convention bios and things.
Be like, oh my gosh, you're in that. I found you finally. Yeah. I know it's the same thing with like Atelier Esca. Like a lot of people are wondering who the voice actors were, and there's no like real credit lists on who the voice actors are. I mean, there's one for the Japanese cast, but there isn't one for the English cast. So it's like, who plays this person? Who plays that person? And it's like, yeah,
Well, an interesting thing that I think we're seeing more often in video games, at least a trend that I hope continues, is that companies are saying, hey, if you want to take the responsibility to announce your character before the game is out, you can announce that you're a part of it. How much you can
yeah.
say, on the other hand, that's another thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true. I haven't really been approached that way. I know a lot of my friends have. Like one of my friends recently said that they were a part of this game. I think it was called Fairy Fencer F, like a game coming out here in the fall. She said she was a part of it, but she couldn't really divulge any information about it. But yeah, that does happen a lot.
Well, I think it's nice for the fans to see because I've been saying this for years on the show, but I feel like there are fans that will buy specific media depending on what voice actor is in it. Granted, not
Yeah.
everybody will, but at least there is, a portion of the fan base that will put in their pre-order or what have you for it.
Yeah, and to me that's actually pretty amazing just because it's like I mean, it's when I first started out, I thought that was really weird that someone will buy a game based off of that voice actor, but I don't really find it weird anymore. I think it's more like, thank you for putting in the work. We appreciate everything you've done so far, and we'll put our money in for any product you're in. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it could be very relatable to, hey, Ewan McGregor's in this and I like that guy, but so and so's in this movie and I'm not sure I like them. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for the other movie is kind of the same mentality behind it, I believe.
Yeah.
So now for the fans out there, are there any other projects that you would like to pimp out to them that you've completed or that you're working on that you can talk about without getting Blitz crank grabbed?
And I just got Blitzcrank saying, "Don't talk about that."
I know it was like the timing was perfect.
I know. Oh gosh, there is one anime that I want to talk about, and I just wrapped it up, and I can't talk about it yet. But I did a game a while back called Earth Defense Force 2025, and I voiced one of the wing divers in that. In that game, I just call it Starship Troopers, the video game. And gosh, some other stuff that I can't talk about. The rest Blitzcrank will kill me. Yeah.
We'll just grab you into the bush and then, you know
Yep.
what happens then. Ezreal is generally in the bush as well. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's serious business.
and then
Total.
Lilex Laser comes in. It's just not fun.
Nope.
But for the fans out there, we're going to take a very short break, so keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't. Hey, everybody out there, you're still tuned to 91.8 The Fan, and my special guest is still here alive and breathing.
Hello. Blitzcrank. He's after me. It
But that must be such a hard sound to sleep with at night.
really is. Well, it's so weird because it's to the point now where if someone doesn't tell me about that sound, I will just block it out of my head.
Oh my gosh,
But
you're so lucky. When I used to live in an apartment, I had that issue for a night. I couldn't.
oh.
I literally pulled like the thing off of my ceiling. I was so frustrated and
Oh
serrated. And I put it, because it still made the sound, I put it on the porch.
my gosh.
And I just was like, no more. It's like 4 in the morning.
I
Just
like I
have to
can't take
sanity.
this. This is just too much. I almost wanted to rip this thing off my wall, but I want to try and find a ladder so I can do it. Because when I record, it's even worse. Because it's like dubbing. Like if I'm recording for anything, for an audition or anything like that, I have to time it. I have to
Beep,
record
beep, beep.
before the beep is about to come, and then when it comes, it's like, oh, you ruined my take. No.
Oh, I can only imagine how frustrating that is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't do a radio show when I had the issue when I lived in an apartment, but my brother has three little monsters and they don't
Oh.
understand hey, I'm recording when it's on my door. Don't knock, don't come in.
Yeah.
And it's like that or they run by and they scream and I'm like, "Oh, okay, well there's that." Makes sense. So that's always fun.
Fun stuff.
I'm dreading when it's summertime and they don't have school.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Oh well, I'll figure it out. But for the fans out there, where can they keep up to date with any new projects you have? I know you have a Twitter, but I actually had a lot of problems finding a Facebook because I have you friended on
Oh.
Facebook, but I'm not sure if it's a fan Facebook or not.
Oh. Well, my Facebook, that Facebook is actually a private one now. I mean, I used to have
Okay.
it open, but now it's private. But I do have a Facebook page at Danielle McRae VO Artist. So you can catch up with all my stuff there and my website at daniellemcraevo.com and my Twitter at Danielle MCVO.
All right, and I'm on your media page on Twitter right
Yeah.
now. I was looking at your boss pictures for your character from the one series that I can't say for the life of me.
Oh, yeah, that's that series. I don't know why they picked. I'm not going to really go about why they picked that name, but I know why they picked it. But it's just a really weird word to say.
But no, I really do like following you on Twitter, and you're very active on social media. Like sometimes I'll post something, you'll like it, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's very nice," or you'll retweet it or whatever.
Yeah, I'm very approachable. I'm just very happy, and I'm like that all the time. Like, oh, look at that, it's so cool. I'll retweet something that's really funny, and it's like, hey, that's funny. Maybe people like it, and I'll retweet it, or they may not like it. Depends.
Well, people not liking things on the internet, that's not a thing.
Oh yeah,
But,
definitely.
but no, so you're open with your fans and if they followed you and asked you questions, as long as they weren't weird questions, don't be a creeper, guys. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have to say it, but I'm sure you'll respond.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ask me questions. I will respond.
And now, do you have any events that you're going to soon? Any places where the fans can catch you in real life?
Yeah. I have some stuff coming up. Next month I'll be in ShinbokuCon, and from I think it's April 10th to the 13th. And I'll be there with Kylie Bear and Chris Kaysen and Alexis Tipton and a lot of other people. And then after that, I'll be in ConnectiCon in July in Connecticut, and then I'll be at MatsuriCon in Ohio in August.
Ooh, very exciting. I do believe we actually have somebody going to MatsuriCon, but
Sweet.
I might be over, it's so hard once again to remember all the places we're going to so far in the year.
Yeah. And there's so many conventions, so it's really hard to keep track of everything.
And and some of them sometimes have really similar names. So you're like,
Yeah.
wait, did I just get them confused? I did.
Like I know a lot of people, and I used to be the same way. Like I used to think Anime Matsuri and Matsuri Con were the same con. It's like, no, they're different. They're different areas. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, for example, in Alabama, there's a Comic-Con, like Kami is in the god, and then obviously
Yeah.
there's San Diego Comic-Con, so everybody gets
Uh-huh.
those confused a lot.
Oh, yeah.
In totally different places at totally different times, but
Well, I think it's because if you mix Comic Con together, it does sound like Comic Con if you
Mhm.
say it really fast. But yeah, that happens a lot.
Well, when there's so many conventions to go to, sometime along the line, somebody was like, you know what, we'll just figure out a name if we say some words really fast and then add con at
Yeah.
the end. But no, for the listeners out there, is there anything else you want to tell them? Any words of wisdom, dating advice, weather forecast?
Well, the weather forecast here is very warm and sunny. No, it is.
You're
But
super lucky.
but with a chance of blitzcrank.
It's raining blitzcrank. That sounds like
It
a
is
nightmare.
raining blitzcrank. But I want to say thank you to everyone listening and thank you to everyone who supported me through this journey. I really appreciate it and look forward to more stuff. And yeah, stay awesome. I love you all.
Well, we love you too. Not in a creeper way, just as a, I'm just throwing it
I
out.
hearts everybody.
But no, we appreciate you coming on to the show, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. So hopefully we'll talk again in the future.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
And for any of the listeners out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.